It's time for Tirade Tuesday on 95.7 FM and 710 AM KCMO.
Are you talking to me? How dare
you? It's morning, so it's Mundo.
Well, happy Tuesday. It is Tirade Tuesday. Here we go. Where do we want to start here? Let's start with Steve in Kansas City. Steve, you're first up on a Tirade Tuesday. Let her rip on a snowy morning. What's happening?
Oh, Pete, man, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. I did have a good nomination for Peacock for only airing the Chiefs playoff game, but man, after watching this Golden Globes, they're ruining. The Wokies are ruining everything, man. It used to be the Golden Globes were the only award show where people got drunk and flailed around and made politically incorrect statements. Now it's a total Wokie heaven with this guy I've never heard of, Joe Coy, who will go back to being the guy that no one ever heard of. And I'm completely in the camp of Taylor Swift, who apparently walked out of the building. And that's exactly what you should do when the Wokies take over. She apparently walked out and just socialized with her friends in the back rather than sit there for this idiocy. If more people did that, I think the content creators might get the message that they're killing their own business. So
you and I are Team Taylor. We're rubbing off. Maybe all her time here in the heartland of America is waking her up to the nonsense, and maybe she's even catching us on KCMO Talk Radio as she's hanging out at Travis's house.
I think those lefty tendencies that Taylor's showing are kind of bleeding away, man. Now that she's living out in Johnson County, I mean, I'm kind of amazed.
She's with a real man.
Walked out of the goal. Anyone who walks out of the Golden Globes is fine by me.
Yep. Thank you very much there, Steve in Kansas City. How about that? Telling you. That's right. Listen, eventually they're going to come for everyone, right? Did you see the New York Times? I'll get to more of your tirades here in a second, but just real quick while it's on my mind. I meant to talk about it yesterday. I didn't get to it on my rundown. The New York Times wrote a piece insinuating Taylor Swift is gay and she's afraid to come out. Did you see that? Look it up. Just Google. I mean, her team laid into the New York Times. I would love to see him sue the crap out of the New York Times. You just can't say that about somebody. Yeah, I think they're gay, but they're afraid to say they're gay. I mean, listen, I talk about public figures for a living, but you got to know where the line is. And there was a 5,000-word article in the New York Times over the weekend insinuating that Taylor Swift is gay but is afraid to come out of the closet. You know why I think they write a piece like that at the New York Times? Because secretly, well, not even all that secretly, they don't want a straight white pop star or a straight white person being the biggest star, even though she is, we know that her politics certainly lean left. How far left? Maybe they've changed the last few years, couple of years. We don't really know. But we know that she certainly leans left politically, but that's not even good enough anymore. There are people who don't want the biggest pop star on the planet to be a straight white lady. They just don't. So now the New York Times is writing pieces insinuating that she is gay because of some of her lyrics. It is insane. And her team blasted the New York Times, and good for them. So I'm telling you, I've been on this Taylor bandwagon now for a few months. I don't think she's going to get political this year. She's walking out of the Golden Globes, as Stephen noted, and her team is ripping the New York Times. And she's hanging out right here in Kansas City. That's, 4 for 4. And she's going to Rye, one of the best restaurants in town. 5 for 5 in my book. Eddie in the Northland. Go ahead, Eddie. What's your tirade? 913-408-7957.
Sorry about your tower down. The people that need to hear my tirade can't hear it. I got two, really. The first one is a real quick one. People, when they're pronouncing the Cincinnati football team, they say the Bengals. It's really the Bengals. The Bengals are a bad group from the 80s, I think.
All right, I'll give you a quick bonus tirade here. What do you got?
Okay, so anyway, people who stand in line and leave spaces for about 4 or 5 people in front of you, they're obvious or they don't want to catch germs or something. But when you're standing in line, close up the line. You're not the only one in the store. Like if you're ordering food or paying for your groceries or something, or even in the drive-thru, pull up so that people behind you can at least move up a little bit. So that's I don't know if it's a big tirade, but it's one of mine, and I got it off. I got it out.
I love you. I love you, Eddie. That's a great tirade, brother. Have a great snowy day. Appreciate it.
All right.
Love that. That is outstanding from Eddie. He's so spot on. Whether it's the drive-thru, whether it's standing in line at self-checkout, can you not stand? I mean, we don't need to stand 6 feet away from each other anymore. Even Howard Stern. Did you see Howard Stern after 17 COVID shots finally got COVID? Howard, you got to be okay there, big fella. Boy, I can't even say it. But what a something that guy turned into, huh? He's a shell of what he used to be. 913-408-7957 on a Tirade Tuesday. Larry, Prairie Village, go.
Okay, I've got a real legitimate tirade. I was listening to Trump over the weekend, and he says after he's elected, he's going to pardon the hostages from January 6th that have been in prison, these poor innocent lambs that he's referring to as hostages. Everybody thought, well, Trump's stupid enough to use the expression hostages, but now it's spreading among other right-wing zealots. They're referring to the people that are in prison for the insurrection as hostages, and they can't wait for Trump to pardon them. Now, that's a legitimate gripe, don't you think?
Don't ask me. This segment's about you tirading.
Yeah, I know. I never can get that. But so that's it. The idiocy of the Trump, the number one leading person right now for the Republican presidency is, I don't know. What can you say about it? Reprobate.
All
idiot.
Right. Let me ask you a very quick question. If is there any candidate with an R next to their name running for president that you could ever vote for?
You asked me this once before, and I answered it. Chris Christie, I would vote for in place of Biden. Okay. Biden is nothing to get excited about, to say the least. It's just that on the Republican end of things, most of them are still deeply submerged in the Trump cult, except for Christie.
You think Nikki Haley's? You think Nikki Haley's in the cult?
Sure, she is. She doesn't want to offend anybody.
Okay.
All
right.
She doesn't want to lose that base that Trump's got. I mean, they cultivated millions and millions of people with very low IQ that rally around Trump.
Yes, and the average Biden voter is a regular member of Mensa. I mean, come on, Larry.
I bet you'll find more Mensa members on the left than you will on the right. Because idiocy is completely saturated the right.
I don't know if there's any way of knowing that, but trust me, Larry, there are morons across the board. Let's just call it like it is, okay? Have a great day. Stay safe out there. 913-408-7957. 95.7 FM is off the air with this weather. Just got reports of that here. We've got the engineering staff working hard to get 95.7 FM back up and running. In the meantime, stream us, the iHeart app. Many of you texting in on the iHeart app. That's fine. Alexa, Google Home, the KCMO Talk Radio app as well works great. Or on the AM dial at 710. So we're going old school here on the AM. But it's days like this that we got to do it. Keeping you up to speed on the weather. And also, if you have time, text us. If you've been on the roads this morning, what they're like, where you're at. It looks like people are going about 35, 40 miles an hour on 435 outside the Corporate Wood studio. So we're monitoring it as best we can. More reports from you, always appreciated, here on KCMO Talk Radio.